G'day, team. Max bet time. Let's get straight into it. We've got rain falling still near Randwick Racecourse, so I'm not sure if they're going to go ahead, but they probably will because there's so much cash at stake for the ATC, and there's cash at stake at us for us as well. So let's get right into the max bet. I want to take you to Moonee Valley Race 4, number 7, Genrochiro, which finished very fast down the outside. Let's just quickly go and have a look at this replay, and then we'll get into why I think Genrochiro is a good bet. So that's him there in the blue colours here, peeling out, got a bit of cover, average tempo, and comes down the outside, flies down the outside here. This race is over 1,600 here. He's number 2. Coming down the middle. This race was over 1,600, steps to 2,040 metres, which I think is much more suitable. This race ran the fastest last 400 for the day. Just misses out here, strong through the line. Going to the Valley 2040. Let's get into the TKZ site and have a look. So the other horses, nothing scares me that much. I've got Burdu by second pick. I think may need the run second up. First up wasn't that impressive. Maybe better third and fourth up. Rise to it. Yeah, rank 1 acceleration. Bit of a weight drop there, but, it doesn't win that often. So there's nothing there that scares me that much. The bottom one's in the market there, which was a bit disappointing as well. I've got $7.50. Maisie, you can see a lot of negative factors there. Every Hope last start does have an upside factor, but I just don't know if he's good enough. Fitter for a couple of runs back, but this is a big step up for Maisie. And as I said, had Every Hope last start, carried a low weight as well, which Genrochiro didn't. So he's dropping about 10 kilos in weight, which is absolutely huge here. You've got a class speed weight rating of number 2. You've got the weight drops now. Weight drop, which I just spoke about, can settle closer. Genrochiro last start was supposed to settle closer, and Cartwright went back. I'm not sure what they're going to do here, but there is an opportunity to settle closer. But the thing that I like so much about this horse is ready to peak fourth up. So let's just go into this other screen, which I go my old database, and have a look at his past run. So you can see their last start rating of 86. So first up, if we go back here, 78 unsuited sale over 1,400. Unsuited again, 1,600, and actually ran all right there, better than what it looks. 75, so 78 rating, 75, 1,600 meter again. It's not Genrochiro's best distance. So you can see here 2,400, 88, 2,500, 90. As we go back through, there's a few 86s there, but these were the peak runs. So getting to a more suitable distance, fourth up is one of the main reasons with that weight drop. And that acceleration is one of the main reasons why I'm so keen on Saturday. Now, if we have a look at I just mentioned acceleration. Let's have a look at this acceleration. So this is the last 600 rating, last start 112, and as you can see, it's off a fairly slow early tempo of 66 compared to these other ones, but prior to that, 61 did 86. So you can see he's getting fitter. You can see he's getting improving. But what I like is the 112 and stepping up in distance. So what that means is, and strong last 200. So 112, 111, had a lot more in the tank. So 111 is his fastest by far, lastest 200. Suggests the horse is improving to me, and suggests that the horse is going to go to a new level over a more suitable distance with that drop in weight as well. The negative for me about this horse, and it's very rare. If you do get positive, you're going to be taking a pretty short price. So you've got to give something away sometimes. But what I love finding, and I think there's value in the market nowadays, is finding potential improvement, not horses that have run the figure or, last start peak rating type thing, but it's a horse predicting that it's going to improve. And that is where the value lies. They put up, I don't know, about 12 to 1 this horse. I took about $8. You can get about $6.50 now. Still think it's a great price. I'm going to have another crack on Saturday. I was talking about the negative with it, and the negative for me is this race strength rating. So as you can see, and as you can see, the class, this is a standardized class rating as well. This is my own race strength rating based on the horse's competitors. So you can see an 87 here. It's going to a new level here of in terms of competition. But as I said, you've got to weigh all these things up, and I'd like to know what you think, how important class is in Saturday races. Obviously, it's important, but how do you factor it into a price? So if this horse had been running in, 88 race strengths and then coming back to 87, you're taking a shorter price about this horse. We are getting a better price about it because of that race strength, because it has been racing in lower strength races. And the other thing about it is it's carrying weight. So one of the tricks with modeling is weighing up your race strength with your weight, with your expected improvement. And that's not an easy task to weigh that up and, come up with a predictive price for each horse. So that's where he's at. I think he is going to improve. I think he's going to go to a 90, which will be good enough to win this race. But it's going to take a good ride from barrier 8. I'd like to see him get cover and settle about 6th, peel out, and just go bang down the straight. So that's my max bet at a decent price for Saturday. What is your max bet? And please tell me why as well. We had some great ones last week come through. A few winners there, which was fantastic as well. But Saturday's a new day. It's not about last week. It is about the weekend and nailing these bookies into the ground. Let's go to Randwick, which I always talk about the big race. So Randwick's a heavy 10, and this is a really interesting race as well from a form perspective. So you got Via Sistina, who won the race last year, but why it's so interesting is a heavy 10. And what I'm trying to do is get better on heavy 10 tracks. I suggested penning them earlier, which you can do. You can pen them, or you can try and get better at them as well and keep learning. Because there's so many different form lines coming out of heavy, not only going into heavy 10 tracks, but coming out of heavy 10, heavy 9, or heavy 10 tracks. Do you pen the form completely if you're going from a heavy back to a slow 5 or a good track? Or do you keep that form in? So let's talk about, before we talk about the actual race, there's a horse that comes up quite a bit on the metrics here, and that's Fangirl. Second for race pressure. I do think that there's going to be a faster pressure in this race than people think, and that's because the three horses that I think are going to go forward, and they are Lindemann, Gringotts, and Robusto, I think will go forward, and they're all drawn out wide. So I think there's going to be a bit more pace in this race than everybody else thinks, and that's why I've got it fast. That's why I've got those horses that will sit off the speed as pluses in this race. What's interesting, you don't see So I just want to talk about Fangirl, because you don't see Fangirl in these class speed weight ratings. That's because heavy track form is factored in. So let's just go and have a look at Fangirl's heavy track form. You can see Fangirl coming out top. Cam rating, weight, and track condition are not factored into Cam at the moment. So that's quite a complex algorithm, Cam, and I'm looking at a way at always improving it and making it better, but they aren't. But the class speed weight rating is. So form factors as well. Fangirl does well on a lot of metrics, so she would have normally come up, short, like a $4, $5. I think she started favourite in this race last year. So what I'm getting at here is that track condition plays such a huge role in the pricing of races, and the market generally gets it right in the end. But there's often value early if you're a specialist at knowing wet trackers and putting the right weight. So what's really hard is putting the right weightings on track condition when you're trying to price a race. Like how top Cam for Fangirl would have been top, its metrics are great. It's a top horse, but heavy track, 5 starts, zero placing. So let's just go and have a look from a ratings perspective how Fangirl produces. So you can see all these ratings here: 98, 102, Elite, right? 103, 101. Let's have a look at the heavy track runs for Fangirl, which is on the 1st of April 2023, which is the highest rating heavy track. So these are heavy track runs for Fangirl. So 97 there. So that's by far the highest heavy track. But as you can see, ran seventh, $12 ran seventh. Obviously, that was a very high class race. Would have been the Queen Elizabeth, possibly, or the King Charles, or something like that. Not sure. First to the 10th, 22. First to the 10th, 22. 87 ran sixth. Flop. Got beat 7. Ninth of the 4th. 66. This rating here, 66. 12th of the 3rd. 2022 rated 84, and 26th of the 2nd rated 90. So her 5 ratings on heavy 8s, 9s, or 10s are 97, 87, 66, 84, and 90. So you can see they're well below par. And even the 97 was where she ran 6th. So she didn't, not like she won or anything. It's such a high class race. That's why that rating's higher. So my point is really how heavily do you factor in track condition? How heavily do you factor in track condition? Because it plays such a big part, and that's why this race is so interesting. Because then you've got a horse like Via Sistina, who is the only horse that I could back, only has run on a heavy track once, and that was down at Flemington in the Mackay Diva, where her wheels started spinning a bit, and Pride of Jenny led at a pretty fast tempo, and she failed as favourite. That was off the back of the first up win in this race. So we've talked about Wallace second up flops as well. So it's a pretty hard race to read this because then Via Sistina did come out on a heavy track and trialled pretty well as well. So I think if Via Sistina handles the heavy track, she'll win. I think Gringotts has got a great setup here. Goes good 1400. First up goes good. Strong metrics across the board for Gringotts as well. Aliana to me is the X factor. She'll have to go to a new level in this grade, but has got a sprint over 1400 meters. Heavy track once again is a query. So you've got Via Sistina query on the heavy. You got Aliana query on the heavy. Lindemann, who I've put in for 4th because I think can go forward, can lead, and I think it's going to be, according to my figures, it's going to be fairly leaderish there, or it's definitely an advantage to be on pace. I don't think you want to be getting back, even though they may be getting off the fence. I don't think you want to be getting too far back, and I think the smarter jockeys are going to realise that the fence isn't that bad, and they will take advantage of it. Heavy 10s as well. I think jockeys are extremely important, and you've got a bloke called James McDonald on Via Sistina. Let's get down and have a look at the market for this race as well. There's your class speed weight rating. You got Via Sistina leading the way. See, there's Fangirl 93 marked down because of that heavy track stuff. Otherwise, would be up there with Via around that 100 mark. Let's get down there. Cruising acceleration. Let's just have a look at a bit of cruising. We got Lindemann, we got Robusto going forward, we got Gringotts going forward, all drawn out wide. Not super speedy horses, but I think they'll be wanting to take up the running and putting a bit of pace in the race. Let's have a look at the market. My bullet price here compared to the market. Light Infantry Man, $31. Couldn't really be on. Chio Wolf, first up. Poor record first up. I think will drift in the market. Rough chance if producers on the day, but he's going to get a long way back. Will be better off later on in the prep, I reckon. Gringotts is a horse that I think haven't done a lot of these form factors yet because I've been under the pump. So I'll be putting a few more in. But does go good at the 1400 first up. Ticks a lot of boxes. Looks really well placed to me. Can go forward, can get in. If it's hard to make ground, he's going to be there. Arapaho, Fitz was tipping. I couldn't be on. Lindemann goes forward from 12, can lead, maybe getting to the fence. Couldn't really be on though. Be wet track query as well. There really is no fourth pick for me. Robusto could run a hole. War Eternal up too much for me in grade. Gets a long way back. Weighted really poorly as well. $26. Leave me right out. I don't think it'll run a place. Diamond Diesel 800-1. That says enough about the horse for me. And then we come to the old girl Via Sistina. So there's negatives here for Via Sistina as well, which is an 8-year-old first up on a heavy track. Do we really want to be taking $2.40? Marked at 220. Reason why I've marked her a bit shorter than what I may have is because of that barrier one. I think she can just posse up behind him. J Max sitting fourth fence or fifth fence. I think he's going to be a good place to be. Clear class edge. We know how good she is. She trialled pretty well, and she trialled on a heavy track as well. So she's the only horse that I could be on. Put down the bottom there. Will she be wound up for this? So we know she's set for the Cox Plate. Is this her grand final? No, as well, which I think is really important heading into these races. That we just don't look at figures. We look at reality, and the reality is she's set for a Cox Plate, and this is a 1400-meter race. First up on a heavy track. Do you really want to be on? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know at 240. I've been burnt by these horses so many times. The more I think about it, the more I think this is a stay out race. Fangirl marked $14, and it just all comes down to that heavy track, unplaced in the trial. This isn't her grand final either. She's going to get back. She's on a heavy track. I don't even know if she'll run. But look at all those unsuitable tempo last up. At rank one, Cam, great acceleration, but she can't do it on the heavy track. So there's a lot to like about her for future races for sure. Then we get down. I won't talk about full count. Aliana. So she's drawn two as well, which I think could be a bonus there. Cutting the corner and staying on the inside, but getting sort of two off, which they may be, which I don't think is going to be any worse than four off. So it may work out well for her. The thing why I give her a chance is 1400 metres she can sprint. She won the Derby, but she can sprint. She's got an amazing turn of foot. But can she do it at this level, and can she do it on a heavy track? So there's question marks everywhere here. I think when there's question marks, you don't want to be taking short odds about a horse, but she's just such a great horse as well, isn't she, Via Sistina? So she handles, as I said, if she handles heavy, I think she'll win. If she doesn't, I think Gringotts will win. I think if you back those two, but then you're taking too much percentage, talking myself out of the race by the sounds of things. If you are going to punt on it, well, the only horse I could be on is Via Sistina, having said all that. And that's what I said on the Saturday set. So we'll see how the track's playing. Maybe they race Monday and it dries out a bit as well. We don't know what's going to happen. But what we do know is we've got to back plenty of winners on Saturday. So let's do it. I'm feeling very confident. Things are starting to turn a little bit, feeling a bit upbeat. But the main thing is, no matter what happens on Saturday, is that you stay in the game. And most importantly as well, stay in the zone mentally. And I will see you on Monday for another episode of The Grind. Go get those bookies.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.